Hi, my name is Jessica and I'm going to take you through the next series of videos. In this series of videos, we are going to focus on the header and how we can add some functionality to the underscores WordPress header. It's good practice when working in underscores to start at the top of the page and work on customizing and developing from the top on down. This allows you to have a method as how you're going to develop in underscores, and one of the reasons we're going to start with the header today. So for this video, you're going to need three files open. You're going to need header.php, site.scss, and colors.scss. You're also going to need to make a new folder, and it's going to be a new folder called header, as well as a new SCSS file called header.scss. Okay, so we're going to start in header.php. And in header.php is going to contain everything that controls the header of your page. So we're going to scroll through and see everything that we have on this page, and then we're going to go through it real quick just to get an understanding. We're not going to have to change a lot right now, but I want to show you where the different classes are for styling just in a bit. So we're going to scroll down and we're going to see a doc type here, and we're going to see a PHP language attribute function, and this is something we're just going to leave alone. All the way through the header, which is just different links to different things, and we're just going to leave that as it is. Then we're going to come to the body, which is where we're going to be working for the most part.
So here we have a link, and this is actually really important. It's a skip to content link, and it's required for accessibility purposes and allows people with a page reader to have more access when they're on your page. Feel free to go to our articles and read our article about accessibility if you want to learn more. But this too is something you're just going to leave alone and not edit or touch because it's required. We're going to move on to our header and our site header with a few different classes. Here we have site branding and we have site header above it. Now these are going to be important. This is going to have everything our header needs. So we're going to walk through it real quick. So these were the two classes here. You can see your site branding, and this will have your site title and your site description, as well as your logo, which will come from the customizer. We'll talk more in detail that later. Then we have this really cool conditional statement here. And this is, if we're on the front page or the home page, it's going to give a condition to our site title that it should be H1 and a P tag on any other subpage. So that's pretty cool. So that's what's going on here. And then as we go down, we're going to see that there's a few other really interesting things going on. So next we're going to look at our main navigation. So here we have our main navigation. And there's a few things going on here that I'm going to show you. So we have an array here that is going to display a menu, and this you'll be able to pick what menu you want from the customizer. Right now we're displaying menu 1, and it's a primary menu. And so whatever menu you're showing, you're going to be able to display here. So if you made a menu 2 through the customizer, you'll be able to upload it here. In our case, it's menu 1. Okay, so now we're on our site SCSS page, and we're going to queue up our new folder and our new file that we made, a Sass file. So we're just going to give ourselves a comment here and call it header. And then underneath, we're just going to copy and paste everything we had here. And make sure, we don't want everything. But we're going to copy just the import, and we're going to import the new file or the new style sheet we made. And we're just going to call this exactly the folder we made, header. And then our file is called header. We're going to save, and we're ready to go. It's all queued up. And you're going to do this for anything from a footer to, again, a header here. And then you're just going to queue it up.
Okay, so now we have queued up our header file, and we're going to move on to step 2. Before we get started with step 2, you can scroll down under this video, and you're going to find a group of snippets. And these are going to be everything from images to styling code, and we're going to use them throughout the tutorial. Since the focus of this video is not on styling, but how WordPress functions, we'll be using snippets. So right now we're going to go and find snippet number 2, which will be below, and we're going to paste everything into the header Sass file. you're going to be able to see that there are going to be things that are commented out, and that is just because I wanted to give you the full code, and then we'll uncomment them as we go, and I will explain things as we go. The next step that we have to do, we can actually go and see if anything's happened now. So we're going to save this and go to our Chrome, and you can see, wow, there's some pretty green going on. We can see that when you hover over things as well, that there is a bar that comes, and there's italics going on, and it's looking quite interesting to say. We've actually added a green color here, a lime green, and a font family. But one smart thing that we get with underscores is that we can use some variables with our Sass. So how we find that, I'm going to show you quickly. We'll go to Files, and then you'll go to Sass and down to your colors, and you open it. And you can see I've added a bunch of colors in. And if you go to snippet number 3, you'll find all of these colors as well. And this is styled after our brand with You Code Girl color scheme. So we can look here, and I'm actually going to look at this light gray to start with. So we can just copy it there and go back. And instead of having this ugly lime green, we're going to put a light gray and save. And go back, and it should compile. And you can see now we have a light gray. We have our site title and our tagline here looking nice and pretty. And yet we still have our menu bar here that is going to need to move up to the right. And that will be step 3. Now we're at our header Sass file, and we're going to see a few different things I'm going to walk you through really quick. We have our site header here. And this needs to be set to relative, so we can position things inside it later. We're going to give it some padding, and we're going to develop a media query for smaller screens. We have our site branding here. We've given some margin right so things aren't standing on each other. We have our site branding text and a few other things going on. And this is completely up to you how you want your header to be designed. So you can just go in, you can use this as a starting point and just design away and have fun. So just look at your sketches and your wireframes and just go for it. And you can always use this as a starting point. All right, now we're on our front page, and we can see there's one last thing that we need to do is get this navigation to float to the right, and we're going to keep this as it is. And first thing I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to make sure I'm on my login. And luckily they hide the password. And we will go back to our site. Super. Okay, so the last thing you're going to need to do is get your navigation bar to float to the right. And we're going to do that with Flexbox. So the first thing you're going to do is click Inspect. And find your site header. There we are. And we're going to go down a bit. Here we are. And we're going to type display.flex. And we can see it hops up. So that's going to work for us. So we're going to go back to our code. And I've already added it in to the media query down here. So you can just open that up and save. And we'll let it load. And we can see that everything has popped exactly where it is. So through Flexbox and a little CSS, you can get your menu bar working really easy once it's queued up and you have the right files working. So you can take a little break and have some coffee and maybe a piece of chocolate, and we'll get ready for the next video.